Your Excellency President Lee, Your Excellency President Nasheed, Your Excellency President Jagdeo, Minister Lee, who has become such a trusted and close companion in this journey over the last year and a half as we have supported your work, President Lee, and that of Korea in championing ideas that have become so central to the challenge of both our economic future, but more important perhaps to our collective future as nations, as communities across the planet. Let me also recognize many of the champions and pioneers in both the business community, civil society that are part of this Business for the Environment 2010 summit here in Seoul, and also to recognize in particular the Champions of the Earth, which is the highest recognition that the United Nations on an annual basis awards to pioneers and leaders across the scientific, political, economic and civil society communities on our planet who will this evening be honored here in Seoul for the work that they have done across the world. Your Excellency, you have in your speech just laid out many of the things that I was going to address, and in fact I have no speech here before me and I only have a few remarks to make because I knew that following you there was not much I had to add in terms of an introduction. But we meet here in Seoul at a very special moment in time, a world that is still to some extent in a shock about the financial and economic crisis that it faced just over the last 24 months, a world that is beginning to glimpse economic recovery, a world that is in fact seeing economic recovery happening precisely in the part of the world that more actively than others embraced the notions that we tried to articulate in the concept of the Global Green New Deal just 16 months ago. And indeed it is in Korea and in China that we have seen the fastest economic recovery rates, and we have also seen the largest percentage of the financial and economic stimulus packages being, in a sense, addressed towards an element of the green economy. The question now before all of us will be, is the future of the economic paradigm, public policy as much as that of the individual corporations, the financial markets, going to be premised on, well, the crisis is over, we return to business as usual, or the crisis reminded us how late we are, in fact, in shifting the paradigm for future economic development. We have with us here three presidents, countries that played a critical, sometimes almost a desperate role in Copenhagen when the world was struggling with one of the challenges of our time. How do we, in a global economy, in a global marketplace, succeed in setting rules and standards that not only are fair and equitable between different nations, but also create the kind of economic signals and certainty that allow the economic world, if I may put it in that sense, because it is not only the private sector, nor is it only the public sector that will shape the future of our economic policy. If you look at climate change, it is precisely in the interactions between governments, the private sector, and society, as consumers, as people who make choices, that the only chance lies in accelerating and scaling up the effort in a transition towards a greener economy. And there are many who now call for more definitions about what is the green economy exactly. Well, at the moment, it is principally a shift in paradigm, one that has to be articulated and developed in each country, by each business sometimes, in terms of the products of the past and their products of the future, in terms of the comparative advantage of one economy today and what its comparative advantage will be tomorrow. And as President Lee has shown with his government here in Korea, what began as a stimulus package in response to a crisis evolved in less than 12 months into a whole new focus for the future positioning of the Korean economy in the global marketplace. And that is why you have passed legislation. That is why the stimulus package, in fact, almost dwarfs in comparison to the investments that you have now made part of public policy in your country to help the economy transition.